Hi guys, thank you so much once again for joining my channel, or watching my channel I should say. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. I would certainly appreciate that. And pass on along what you have seen as well. And let me know what you think. This evening I'm going to be making some seafood stuffed salmon. I did a video a while back with seafood stuffed salmon. It was a commercial product. As in the salmon was already stuffed and I just baked it off. Anyway, tonight I'm going to do it from scratch and in terms of making the stuffing and all that stuff. So I'll be letting you see that. But that's what we're going to prepare this evening, is this seafood stuffed salmon, cooking with Pouncy. So bear with me and I'll be back shortly. In the process of this seafood stuffed salmon, I've got my onions and I've got 1/4 of a green pepper in here that I've diced up, and the dicing is pretty fine. And I'll let you see that in a second here. The onions are diced up fine as well. And I've also got some celery in it. So very little green pepper, 1/4 of a green pepper. And I've got 3/4 of a large Vidalia onion in here. Excuse me, 1/2 of a Vidalia onion in here. And that's all I've got in there. I'm going to be using, of course, some breadcrumbs to hold my stuffing together. Little black pepper. I'm using coarse ground black pepper. I've got this stuff called Seafood Magic I'm going to be using for seasoning. I've got a little salt over here too, and I'm going to be careful because this is salt and this is salt again here too. And I'm going to use a little minced garlic, a little bit in this recipe. And I'm sort of ad-libbing, but you'll see all of this in the ingredient list, okay? I've got my crab meat, obviously. I've got 5 cans of 12-ounce cans of fancy crab meat. You don't have to use fancy crab meat. I suppose you could use any crab meat you want in your making of this dish, okay? And I certainly hope you do make it and enjoy it for yourself and your family. I think I'll be putting maybe 1/2 of this little jar of pimentos just for color, and that I'll just kind of fold this in. I'll put it in right at the end of the blending it all together process, so I won't crush them, okay? I was thinking about maybe putting some red pepper in there, but I think this will suffice, and just for a color. And I think that's about all I'm going to be doing in terms of putting that in there. I'm going to be sauteing my onions and my green peppers and celery in butter. And I've got 2 tablespoons of butter thus far. And I'll just break this up and show you how fine that is. I think you guys can see that. Okay. And that's going to be what I'm going to be sauteing in, those 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to be doing that very shortly. I'm going to get these almost more than translucent, maybe almost very soft, okay? And, all right, guys, here we go with our green pepper, our celery, and our onions. The butter is already hot and sizzling, what you hear in the background there. And get those nice and tender. And get the show on the road here. And again, like I said, I got to do this because you don't want to stuff your anything with hot stuffing. So that's why I want to get this out of the way here, so I can get it cooled down before I stuff my salmon. And I'll be showing you how to do that in a little bit. Okay guys, here's our translucent green pepper and onions and celery, okay? And so far I've got 1 cup of breadcrumbs in here, and I'm kind of moving it around to make sure that's kind of be by sight here in terms of the distribution of the ingredients that's going in here. But again, you'll see it all in the ingredient list. But again, I've had I shot it out rather with 1 cup of those breadcrumbs. And as you can see, I'm kind of folding that in there. All right. Pretty simple, guys, pretty simple. And now I'm going to start introducing my crab meat in here. I'm gonna just let it go right now for now with the 1 cup of cornmeal. I'm gonna put not all of the stock, the liquid water, off of the crab in each one of the cans I've got, but I'm starting out with 1 can. I'm gonna toss it lightly because I don't want to just wreck that crab, okay? And we'll just toss it lightly here. As you can see, just making sure I don't get it too wet. I don't want it really, really wet. And it's looking pretty good so far, and I need some more crab meat. Can't get too much crab in there. Just saying. It's kind of crumbly. I got to take my glasses off so I can see, guys. I say this all the time, and people that wear glasses understand what I mean when I said I had to take my glasses off so I could see. Got a well distribution of crab throughout here. And again, I'm going to be careful and not get it too wet. So I'm not going to add all the water to the batch until I'm sure I've got what I need here in terms of consistency, all right? I squeezed most of the water out of the 2nd can. Pretty dry. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, of course. And again, guys, you can use any crab you want. This is whole leg meat, it says, fancy crab meat, Isha brand. And again, I'm going to kind of feather it rather than kind of stirring it too hard. And again, now I'm going to start checking it for the consistency of it, and I'm doing that with my little paddle here. It's looking good. I just want it to hold together or stick together, all right? So I can get so it doesn't fall apart. It's looking pretty good. I'm not adding, and I probably won't add any salt. You guys know that seafood is salty already. And it might have enough salt in it. I may sprinkle a little pepper in there though, because I told you I had some pepper here. And let's put a little pepper in there. But I'm going to watch it on the salt, okay? Years ago I used to make this. There was a product called Seafood Zip I used to put in it. I don't even know whether that product is still on the market. And I don't even know what it did in terms of flavor, but it was something that I put in this mix when I made this stuffing. Now I need to check this. That's looking really good, It's holding together, as you can see. It's holding together. I'm pressing it a little bit hard, but I want it to hold together like that, okay? And now guys, I've got some more crab over here, and there's no way, having opened those cans, that I'm gonna let this crab go here and not use it. So I'm gonna be draining another can. And this will be the 3rd can of crab meat. Now guys, you don't have to put this much in yours, but I'm going to put this one in. I'm squeezing it pretty hard because again, I'm wanting the moisture content of the whole deal here. And I ad-lib a lot, and I'm doing that now because having this much crab, I may just start adding a little bit more of my crumbs in here, because you can serve this with items other than that fell on the cutting board, other than your stuffed salmon, of course. You can stuff any kind of fish with it. So my point is, I don't care if I have enough left and some left over, because that's good, and I'll have some for another meal as well. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm still watching consistency. I'm not as concerned about making sure I get some more crumbs in there, and I'll do it only if I need them, and it's still looking like I want it in terms of consistency. All right. Again, you'll see it all in the final ingredient list as you see me putting this together. It's looking really good, guys. It really, really is. And again, you want it to hold together when you pick it up, like that, and just doing it, okay? And I'm gonna kind of let it go at that, all right? All I've got in there, like I said, is that black pepper that I just put in there. That seafood seasoning is gonna go on the salmon, of course. And I'm gonna drain these pimentos because I don't want that liquid in there. I'm gonna put some of these in there. I'm gonna feather them a little bit, like I said. A little bit more, not quite the whole jar. 3/4 of it is gone already. And I just, like I said, I just feathered it. And I'll just fold it in there now, all right? Kind of shaking as I fold it, just to have some nice color in there. There you have it. There you have it. I'm trying to break that lump up right there. That's a lump of crab. That's looking really, really good, guys. I hope you can see that. And again, I like the consistency of it. I like the way it's holding together. So you can see that. Got plenty of moisture in it because there's still moisture in that crab as well. So I didn't have to do any cooking whatsoever. I did the green peppers, the onions, and the celery. Now, as you saw, in the butter. And now, as you saw, I folded the whole thing in here, and I'm actually ready. It's not hot at all because the other ingredients has cooled down, those onions and green peppers and celery. And I'm going to just wait for a little bit, and then I'll show you how I stuffed that that salmon with it. And again, I'm trying to be careful and not put hot stuffing in that salmon, and that won't happen tonight, guys. Okay? If you can envision, the whole thing was a pound fillet. Okay? And all I did was I took and I cut this piece from one side of it. And I cut this piece from the other side of it. These are residual pieces. That's the belly fat portion of it right there. I'm not going to toss that. I'll be cooking that as well. And here's kind of sort of an extra piece out of that whole 1 pound fillet, okay? And so what I did here, and what I'm doing, is I got to make a pocket for this stuffing that we made, okay? And I did it this one already, if you will. And all I did, and I'm going to do it with this one here too, that one other piece that I got there. I'm going to make a little semicircle with it, like a horseshoe, if you will. And then I'm going to cut this, not all the way through, because what's going to wind up happening is you're going to have a piece here, and you're going to have a piece here, okay? Put in, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So anyway, I'm going to take this like this, and I'm going to cut this, hopefully not all the way through. I'm level with my knife, holding it level, and I'm just trying to go right across, being careful of my fingers, and stuff like that. So I'm going to stop right there, all right? So here's what I got right here when I do that. So now I'm going to turn this over. My knife over. And I'll be turning this over to make that pocket. Now you got to leave it like that, okay? I'll just turn it over to make the pocket. That's what I'll do, just like that. And that's going to be my pocket for my salmon, stuffed salmon, as I put it in that pocket. I keep calling it a pocket because to me it looks like a pocket, okay? So anyway, I'm going to take my stuffing right now, as I indicated, and I got to change gloves. And let us get this stuffed. And I guess that's why they call it seafood stuffed salmon. All right. Again, the stuffing turned out really, really well. It tastes really, really good, guys. And there's other things you can do, variations with this as well, I guess. So you don't have to stick with this, but this is how Pouncy does it. All right. So let's take our little pockets of salmon that we've already molded out here, and let's take and put our stuffing in there. All right. We're gonna put it right here. I gotta be careful, guys. I can't be touching my stuffing with this, as you know, because of the inherent dangers in terms of cross-contamination. Okay, that looked like a pretty good little pocket thing to me. I'll tell you guys, I did pretty good on the pocket deal, even though it does look like a canoe. All right. Okay, and I'm gonna get a little bit more over here, but again, I gotta be careful because I did touch that with that. I'm just kind of a fanatic with this, and you'd be a fanatic too, and not be touching stuff and cross-contaminating stuff. So we'll just put this right there. All right. I'm not packing it tight. I'm not packing the stuffing tight because you want it loose, a bit loose, so that it can breathe and it can get hot, hot, hot as well. Okay, so that's what we'll do for that, and I got that done. I got that all done. And I think that's going to be really, really good, okay? So now we're going to take these little guys. We're going to take these little guys. And again, I'm just kind of fluffing it because I don't want to pack it down. And I'm going to add a little bit of my seafood magic here. I got a little bit here. Just for seasoning on the fish itself because it doesn't have any, remember? You didn't see me shaking any seasoning on here. So a little seafood magic, I think I showed it to you earlier. All right? Just a little bit just to season that fish. Come on, I know you're in there. It's not too much. I got another jar when I need it. I'm not putting it on too heavy, guys. I did put a little more salt to taste in that stuffing, and it tastes really, really good. All right. Okay. All right. I don't know about you guys, but this looks pretty good to me, I tell you. I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil on that fish too, all right? I'm gonna put it in the oven at about 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. Remember, you don't have to cook anything. The stuffing's already done, right? So let's see what we can do. I got a little bit of olive oil in here. I put just a drizzle of olive oil in my dish here, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of slide this fish across it. And you'll see what when I say that, see what I mean here. Let's take this in here, and you'll pick her up. Try to keep it intact. I'm going to slide it, like I said, like I did, over there in that little corner. And we've still got some here, residual. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm not being that careful, as you can see, either, but I'm picking it up. It's holding together pretty good. And let's put that one in there as well, all right? And I'm going to get a little room there for it, because it's going to shrink just a little bit as well because of the water content or moisture content in the fish. All right. I'm kind of playing with it, guys, because that looks pretty good to me. All right, let's call that a done deal there. I'm going to do these pieces as I indicated to you earlier, too. Same thing, seafood magic. Let's put some of that on here. Let's put some seafood magic on these pieces that I had left over. That big old palm piece of fish here, the belly fat. You can use that if you want to, otherwise it's kind of fatty. I'm going to cook it just for the heck of it and see what it tastes like anyway, alright? Make sure I get all the sides of this stuff here. Didn't have to worry about the bottom of this because I think it's going to be sufficient seasoning on that whole dish there, okay? And I'm going to take this here. I don't have any olive oil floating around there, but I'll get a little bit. So I'm just going to get a little bit of olive oil on this fish. That's it. Yeah, that's it. A little bit here, a little bit, just to get a little oil on it. I'm just going to put that in there, and I'll put a little of this on my hand because I told you I was going to put some on the fish. And you might not have to do that. The fish is oily anyway, but I'm going to just give it a little start here in terms of not making it dry. And I think this will help that situation. I'll put just a little bit on each side here, guys. Probably don't have to do that, like I said. But I want to make sure it doesn't get dry. And I'm just drizzling a little bit of olive oil on my fingers, as you see. I'm pushing it down in there. The stuffing's going to be fine. It's got enough moisture in it. And I'm only going to cook it for, I think I told you, 15 minutes or so, all right? This has got to go here, and the other side, same thing. All right. I think we're done and ready to go. My oven's heating up. In fact, my oven's ready to go. So we're going to do that again. I'm going to kind of crowd this a little bit. You know what? I'm going to cut that in half as well because I don't want to have to go curving it around the fish here. I'm going to just cut it in half right here. Just a little seasoning on that too. Just cook these pieces so I won't throw them away. If I discard anything at all, it's the belly fat. And guess what? You guys didn't see that, but I'm going to put those two nice pieces right there. And this is going in the oven. 15 minutes later, we're going to start putting it together. I do have some stuffing left over, like I said, and not a whole lot. You can certainly use that for other dishes, side dishes, and that's what I'm going to do, okay? So, that's what we're going to do with this. This is going to the oven at 400 degrees. Center rack. I've also got some asparagus that I'm not going to tell you about because we didn't talk about asparagus. These are fresh asparagus. They're going in at the same time at 400 degrees. And they're also going to stay in there for about 15 minutes, okay? So we're going to, all right guys, I'm back with the stuffed salmon. It looks really, really good. And just FYI, I did not toss that belly fat piece. I'll kind of show that to you. And it's real tasty. I seasoned it, of course, and I just kind of pan-seared that piece right there. And we're going to eat that. Maybe not tonight because we got plenty here, but anyway, that's what I did with that little piece there. And this is what that salmon looks like right now. And it looks really, really scrumptious. There's a lot of moisture in there. I can see it. And hope you can. Maybe you can't. But there's a lot of moisture in there as well. So I'm going to plate these up. And at that 400 degrees, I might add as well. I use thermometers all the time. You guys should as well. I'm not guessing. I use this particular thermometer here I've had videos on these things too, but this is a cheapie. They don't cost that much. But I wanted this to achieve or attain a temperature of 165, and it actually exceeded that. And so you want to do that as well, all right? So I'll be right back. I'm going to plate this up for presentation, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. Okay, guys, here goes the presentation. I think it's beautiful. I hope you think it's beautiful as well. I think you can see that. These plates are very hot, as I always typically put my plates in the oven for the residual heat that's left in the oven so I can heat my plates. And the plates are piping hot. There's that asparagus I was telling you about. There's a little grated Parmesan on top of that and some other spices and a little olive oil. But this is what we're having for dinner, and we thank you once again so much for, if you would, please subscribe if you like what you see to my channel, Cooking with Pouncy. And please share this this video as well with others. Ouch, that's hot. Please share this with others. And let us know what you think as well, if you like what you see, okay? Yeah, I just want to pick it up in case you can't really see that, but that is a beautiful, I think, a beautiful presentation. And again, thank you so much for tuning in to Cooking with Pouncy, and we'll see you with the next meal. Thank you so much again. Once again, have a great evening. Bye.